Greetings, I am Lion.
And I am Scandal.
And
let's play a game together. Yeah.
But we didn't get to talk to each other after you left for your medicine. Except for this doesn't, well, I mean, this one doesn't path from both sides because obviously you would have talked in reference to the medicine if you'd have gone with for that, unless, of course, you get turned away at the door if you try to go with for the medicine.
Or it's actually more complex than that, and it actually did try to follow it. But I'm saying that its lines then don't make sense when you have one following the other.
Kind of poorly done. All right, well, it's fair.
I know! I wanted to go out last night, but the nurses wouldn't let me.
You do sound like you're kind of a nuisance in the hallways, and that you're not supposed to be around in them, but that you do it all the time anyway.
Mister, well, you're really a jerk.
Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry, I thought I was thinking in my own head. My dialogue box wasn't clear.
What? So, any news?
I am able to get myself out of my room by myself on the second day of my time here.
Which has been apparently 3 months, but no weeks, no days, just a day, just 2 days.
Apparently, I got hurt yesterday, admitted unconscious yesterday, and woke up yesterday, and today is the second day of my injury. So that is my timeline. That's news. I have a timeline. News? I mean, I wouldn't share my timeline. Nothing much. But my teammates visited yesterday despite all of my wishes.
Right.
Oh, really? How nice of them.
Yeah, I guess.
So how was it? Did you guys have fun?
Do you get a lot of visitors? Do you usually have fun with your visitors? Did we have fun?
Oh my god.
That's a good question. He sounds so drugged. This entire time, I feel like they're writing him as being softly drugged real hard. Just going, because this is so basic in the dialogue, and he sounds, again, so disconnected from everything. Like, so did you have fun is a pretty standard question for doing anything.
It's like the irritation that sometimes people have, though, when you go, are you okay? Well, I'm clearly not okay, and it's a question basically inviting going, what happened? But they're trying to give you something more positive going, was it fun? Did you have a good time? And you sound so lacking social context here, mister. It's insane.
You sound like a foreigner. It's okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, but there's this level of going open-ended questions versus closed-ended questions. So a closed question only takes a yes or a no as an answer. Well, that's all it requires. Okay? So if you say, do you feel good? People can say yes or no. But if you say, how do you feel? That's an open-ended question. They can't say yes or no.
Right.
Unless they're being, sort of a jerk about it, or like being snarky or sarcastic of going, yes, I do feel things.
Ah.
Or how do you feel? No. Oh my god.
How do you feel? Not happening.
So if you want a story from someone, if you want more explanation, use an open-ended question.
Which is actually why, as far as I can tell, most of these games use close-ended questions, because otherwise they'd have to be way more complicated about it, and you'd have to put more opinions and more thought and more character into it. Close-ended questions are much easier to write.
Which is why if you're spending a lot of time with these games, then you might find yourself using a lot more close-ended questions or expecting things or trying to perceive things in more limited ways if this is one of your primary medias, in the way that media does teach you things, even if you don't mean it to.
Yeah.
Like it informs you about stuff. All right, so that's a good question. I have never thought about things in that context before. Rena is deep.
Whoa.
Did I have fun or not? In the whole, minute and a half they were in my room. The milkshake conversation might have been fun, or it might have just made me hungry. Why don't I eat food? What should my answer be? This is a choice?
What?
This is a choice.
What?
I'm not sure why this is a choice. So many things that I would have loved to choose. And now there's this, I wanted it to be over, is honest, based on the canon of what they've told us about him.
Yeah, he wanted it to be over, but
So
would he ever say that out loud?
I was going to say, I feel like there's this mix between, I'm thinking about being vulnerable with you.
Right.
So, because, I want to be close to you, because I keep saying I want to be close to you, because I wish I'd have seen you, and I wish I could be in your room, and I want to know about your condition, and stuff like that. So going, I'll be vulnerable, I wanted it to be over. Or, I really want you to like me, so I want to be a people pleaser, so I want to sound safe and comfortable, so I'll say it was nice.
Or it is still in the end about basically Mr. trying to control everything and hoping that basically nobody will do anything that he doesn't want them to do. And if he tells them, then, he might not be exposing himself to some sort of ridicule or, unmanliness.
Right? He does seem very much to be afraid of being seen as unmanly. So I think I feel like he wanted it to be over. I think since they've also indicated this character is very likely to be a liar in many cases, interestingly enough, because of the dialogue options and internal monologue that he's had, I'm going to say it was nice. Because that sounds like him wanting to basically please Rena, which sounds like who he is more the way they've written him.
Yep, totally a liar. Actually, I love the fact that you can just flat out say that is the first time I think we have had a character experience. This is the first time we've had a character experience of going, this character's a fucking liar.
Yeah.
Like, just flat out, and just basically in a way that's like, I'm just here to manipulate you so that you'll like me, and not just for I'm trying to defend myself sort of thing, or make sure that nobody gets angry. I'm not trying to pacify you or anything. I'm just trying to get you to like me, so I'm going to lie to you. Because you could argue Byrne has been a liar, Small has been a liar, but the thing is their motivation, I always felt like, was more of the thing of I'm trying to pacify you and not make you angry or upset you, because that's mostly what women are, basically encouraged to do.
Yeah.
And boys are more, as far as I can tell, encouraged, shockingly, to lie, to try to get to what they want.
And there's this interesting experience where with Byrne, especially in Freshman Fantasies, in case you haven't been over there, that there were options for her to lie, but her character wasn't structured between those options to feel like a liar.
Yeah.
And his has been, and especially in some of the dialogue options where he's like, I am this thing, but then pretend to be this thing, like, it also
That's
sounds
a liar.
like, yeah, it sounds like over and over again he's considering lying, or that lying is his go-to, even when sometimes both the options are kind of a lie. Or like when it was try to get, try to convince your nurse not to open the door, everything was essentially a panic episode of something false.
Yes.
Anyway, so it was nice.
This is really weird.
Seeing my old friends that I knew a day ago made me feel much better.
Yep. Sounds about right.
My old friends, who you haven't seen in like 2 days, unless you've been unconscious for like a month in this hospital. And also, is that still old friends rather than just your friends?
My friends are just no longer my friends anymore. They were my old friends, but I don't have them anymore. What I have now is you. And I have the other nurses.
Oh my
and it's
God.
gonna be great, and they're my old friends, but you're my new friend.
And that's much more important. Yes. Oh my God, I see that so hard in this. So like that dialogue, just, I don't know, I can't do it. I'm like, old friends.
Friends are the best, right?
If you're my friend, yes. Otherwise, no.
What is wrong?
Better than pizza, to be honest. I hope you like pizza, otherwise that reference will fall really flat. And since you don't know whether I like pizza, this will be your first introduction to the fact that hopefully I do.
Pizza's okay.
Anyway, I was trying to go outside. Could you help me stand up my wheelchair? What do you do around here anyway? Because I've forgotten about going outside and that I should be relaxing. This stresses me out and makes me anxious. I'm not supposed to be anxious. I better talk to Rena more, but not be anxious about it.
Oh, right. Now is a good time to show you around. I've already been shown around.
No thanks, I've already been shown around. Let's do something, whatever you do.
What?
When you say...
What is going on?
When you say show me around, do you mean show me the things that you do? Like, that is a little bit
Oh my
wild.
God, sorry, I'm also dying here on the inside because Rena is apparently supposed to be some sort of chronically ill patient. You do not usually have patients just randomly going around in a hospital where they have to stay in long term, as far as I understand, just showing each other what to do. At that point, you tend to have a nurse with them going, hi guys, can I help you? Let's show you around myself, or keep you guys safe, or whatever else. Especially, but it depends on what, number one, what Rena has, which I'm assuming is something terminal, and then what... Mr. has is something that basically where he could really hurt himself, and he's a very new patient.
Yeah.
So this seems really wildly inappropriate, and they're both kids. You wouldn't have a pair of children running around a goddamn hospital by themselves.
Not without their nurses going,
Or without being in the children's ward.
I say one, they're in the children's ward so they can't leave.
Yeah.
Or two, they're in a space where, one, it's highly controlled, small hospital. And two, they know you know your way around. So like if you're a long-term patient like her, you can tell your nurse nurse at the nurse's station, hey, I'm going to this fill-in-the-blank place that I'm allowed to go to.
Right.
And they go, okay, I'll let so-and-so who watches that place know you're coming or you'll be there.
Right.
Like, I'm going to go to the reading room.
Minors are incredibly watched.
Right,
like,
and you
whoa.
can take yourself if they know you won't get lost, won't be a problem, if you're, you're a trustworthy patient. Or sometimes they'll go, great, I'll walk with you.
Right?
Kind
It
of
won't
thing.
even matter. They'll just be like, that's nice, I'll go with you. Here,
So,
I'm going that direction anyway. Like, I remember lots of people watching them wander around and do this sort of thing. Sorry, my dad's a doctor, and I remember going a lot to his work when he would go work at hospitals. Now, he didn't always work at hospitals, but I remember watching nurses practically and orderlies practically going everywhere with everyone almost all the time. Because they really don't want anyone to get lost or get sick or have a problem or run into things, or basically other concerns about going, you don't know if you're going to run into another patient. Like, they really tend to care a lot. Now, some of that can also trail into levels of abuse, because some of them can be very controlling and very manipulative in that way, because they just are so tired of so many patients. Like,
or they're just
dang.
really stressed and overworked. So it's not necessarily abuse so much as getting dismissive and controlling. In the sense of going, I just need you to be limited.
Their intent is not to abuse, but they do therefore unfortunately still do abuse. So I get where you're talking about, but their intention matters. But I'm like, however, it's kind of like the perception of going, well, to me though, that was still abusive. Like, that person could still experience that, going like, they were all really rude and really mean to me and really controlling. It's like, they were probably also all really tired and trying to get you, who's potentially a combative patient, depending on what you were going through. Like, I remember hearing loads of stories and watching also lots of people and just being like, this is a very complicated issue.
Okay, I was just saying, but I was thinking of more of a situation where you go, I'd like to go out of my room, and they go, that's not really going to work very well right now. And it doesn't mean you're devastated by it or that they're being really aggressive about it. They are being controlling in that way because they are controlling you into your room, but it's not a big deal for you. You go, oh, okay, and that's it.
And that's another thing, too, is that that's usually a conveyance that they try to explain to you in the hospital, of going, sometimes these things will happen, these things or whatever else. There are some nurses that will do it and other nurses that won't. There are some orderlies who will do it and other ones that won't. It all depends, because they're all people.
And some of them are having better days or not. Okay, anyway, it's super weird to have both of us completely unattended with no other exposure and no direction, wandering around, and her going, I'm not going to tell you what I do, I'm just going to give you a tour.
Right?
Like, what do you do for fun? Oh, let me give you a tour.
Right.
Of, I guess, what I do for fun.
Let's show you around. But first,
Wait.
More chocolate.
let's go get.
Oh my god, it is more chocolate! She's so two-dimensional! Wow!
Wow, this is really bad. She really is like the cutesy lowly type. Like, wildly so. Why is the types with, like, okay, so for guy games or guy stories in particular, why are the types so much stronger? Like, does that make sense to you of what I'm talking about? Like, the archetypes seem so much more extremely, like, very specific corners. Like, you have it in, like, shoujos and whatnot, where you can really go, okay, this is sort of like the cool type or whatever else, but they're a little bit more diverse than just that.
I'll say, it's your whole thing of going like Ouran High School Host Club, where here's your guy types.
Right.
Which, if you haven't seen that, basically...
Ouran Host Club is so good.
I was going to say, it breaks down your male, love interest archetypes so hard.
Yes.
It's a really good parody of that while being a really cool character story.
Yes.
In our opinion, my opinion of character story. It's a lot of fun. It's very cute. I would say, but those...
And it's on Netflix right now if you have it in the United States.
It's true. There's that. Okay, I would say, or go to your favorite anime website and look for it. Anyway, or a host club. But what I would say is, like, those character archetypes are not as clean cut as your girl character archetypes are, even when they're going to the level of parody.
Right.
Of these are the archetypes, the cool one, the talkative one, the Shota, whatever, that kind of thing.
Right.
And just going, yeah, the girl archetypes seem way flatter and smaller of characters. So like your bimbo has less complexity than your himbo. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, yeah.
How about that?
But also at the same time too, like, I've seen really simplistic, basically woman-oriented archetypes. Not like so for like for women archetypes that are directed towards women/girls. But I'm just like, yeah, like, it is really strange. Like, so far, really what I'm getting is just like a gross oversimplification, like, that is so much stronger here.
And what I was going to say is it's probably a variety of sexism that isn't really something that I'm familiar with labeling, or that, isn't really addressed, where it's the whole, the lamp principle of her character's so complex, or so simple, you could replace her with a lamp, and it wouldn't change the story.
Which is why you always hear that, though, usually about female characters
but
or
not
women.
About men.
Because you can't usually replace a man character with a lamp. lamp and the story would be the same.
Right. Okay, so anyway, so yeah, the characters feel sort of very simplistic, more one-dimensional and flat, and I was making a joke that it would be let's get some chocolate, and then that was it, and so we're kind of going, whoa.
Sorry, yeah, sometimes when you hear the smacking noise where you're literally like high-fiving
High-fiving.
each other and going, good job, like that is... Yeah,
Yes.
that's like, so we do that every once in a while because somebody will call something really hard and it'll just pop up and we'll be like, damn,
Oh, shit, yeah.
dude, you got that.
All right, so
Let's get some chocolate from the vending machine.
she faces the vending machine, which is in this hall right next to us, because there's one in every hall of the
Hallway.
hospital.
Suddenly, abruptly.
Why did she go to the other one last time if there's this one right here, right outside my room? Oh, wait, I might not be right outside my room, because I was trying to go outside. Maybe I'm downstairs
Maybe
now?
you're lost.
Who knows where I am? But the vending machine was immediately beside us, and before she helps me up off the floor, she turns and puts a few coins into the slot. And I look at her while sort of trying to helplessly lift my wheelchair up, as I just sort of end up scooting out of it onto my butt, turning it right side up on my own, and then trying to crawl into it on my belly like a fish while
Right.
not cracking my leg on the floor. It's awkward. It rolls into the other wall, and once it's braced against the other wall, then I finally scoot into it. Fortunately, she has to fight with the coins for a while I'm doing this, so she doesn't see it all, and I roll myself back over beside her and go, yay, chocolate, before
Ow.
I feel stupid. My leg hurts
A little
a
bit.
lot.
Ow. Honestly,
Ow.
though, like, I'm really kind of intrigued, just sort of thinking about in relation to, so we've watched a lot of, like, for example, like, Pop Culture Detective, and we've watched some stuff, like, from Anita Sarkeesian, like, so that says girl tropes or whatever else, and we've watched also a lot of various different YouTubers over the years.
Now, I've only seen a tiny bit of Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah, I've
stuff,
seen way more.
But anyway,
Um,
other YouTubers and a lot of people who do examine gendered tropes.
Which is really interesting and stuff. Yeah, so it was called Feminist Frequency, my apologies. I couldn't remember what the name of it, but most people go, oh yeah, Anita Sarkeesian. It's really interesting just to go, like, and sit here and recognize and go, you know, one of the reasons I think over the years that I never really enjoyed, like, strict, like basically girl-oriented, like, tropes or stereotypes is because a lot of them tended to be overly simplified.
Yeah, they were really flat.
But then even for guys, they tended to be really overly simplified, and I liked them always when they were way more complex, and I never really got the whole, here is the archetype for this character, and here is the archetype for this character, because to me, they were never, like, characters just were too boring, or basically too extreme for me.
In my experience, you're going to simplify a character more if they're a love interest.
Mhm.
So if you have a woman who's there to be a love interest, she's going to be generally a lot less complex than if she's there to be another kind of a character.
Right.
But that's only based on the media I've watched, so I don't know if that's a rule in any way. And I imagine it would vary depending on where you're from, too, because in foreign media, from specifically Germany or Russia, because I've seen a couple of movies from those areas, there seem to be more, to the movies that I've been exposed to, there's more complex female characters, and they're more interesting. Especially some of the movies, like a couple of the German movies I've seen, including Run Lola Run.
Oh yeah, that was a good
where
movie.
she was a really interesting character, kind of thing, and definitely drove the story. But on the other hand, she was the protagonist, so I say. But yeah, so what do you want to eat, Mister?
I don't know, like, but it's just interesting to sort of sit here and go, God, like, I didn't realize just how strongly sometimes, like, I know it has been there, but sometimes you just sort of had that re-realization of just how reductive a lot of women/female characters really are, like, they have how much they're almost subhuman. Because they have so little going on with them. Like, you could make Rena into a really interesting character. You could make Louisa into a really interesting character. And they seem really flat. But we've also had the same accusation, kind of like the ones where they have, you know, the Otome games that are aimed at girls. And I'm like, because a lot of them sometimes are really flat and they're really frustrating because they go, but these particular traits are the only traits that belong to this character.
And one of the interesting things about, like, My Mystic Dragons was that two of your characters they added more complexity to by giving them a basically dramatic backstory.
Right.
And then the other one they added no complexity at all to, and he was honestly the one that felt most comfortable without having any backstory at all.
Right.
But he was technically very flat, and so we got to add a lot to him.
Right.
Like, there wasn't much to Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
At all.
Nope.
Like, and it was pretty consistent of, I'm gonna be a little bit rude and inappropriate and like in your face more than the other ones. Not overbearing, just sort of impolite.
Yes.
And like, it really has been this thing over and over again to kind of watch once you establish one character thing. Now, if they do it in this game, if they continue this way, then hers is going to be chocolate, and then, like, Miki's is gonna be I keep having like vulnerable trouble, basically the same kind over and over again. Of either I'm not as good at my job as I hope to be, or I'm just holding up a front or a facade, and I need to look. I'm keeping a brave face on and trying to show people it's not as bad as it is. And that'll be the only thing about her character. And then about Luisa, it'll just be that I'm gonna tell you what to do and disregard you all the time. And that'll be the only thing to each of their characters. So right now I'm just putting that bookmark in and going, okay, let's see if any of them have anything more to them than like Rena's, I have a cry face, and I like chocolate.
Yeah.
And, the other two that I mentioned.
I don't know. I think this conversation is really interesting for you guys that have also followed us, or even if you're new. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because this is always really complicated in regards to media, and we found it to be really interesting, even just in the fact of, like, we've watched a lot of different Let's Players, or we've watched a lot of basically different media, and watching different approaches to things has been really interesting or fascinating. So if you have anything where you've experienced any of this, like, or for you that's culturally relevant, I'd love to hear about it. Because I know everybody's basically got their tropes or their stereotypes or whatever, and this is like, I don't know, to me right now I'm just sort of like this is sort of mind-boggling to go, I know I've been aware of it, but I did not realize how much, like, basically, so my biggest thing of interacting with media most of the time is going, unless I'm in the mood for it, I basically completely walk away from whatever it is. I usually know what I'm going for, or I'm more willing to let things slide when I'm in a certain mood, to just go, oh, this thing will satisfy whatever I'm trying to go for, but otherwise I just kind of go, nope, not dealing with it, and I put everything down.
Right.
Because I don't really like that stuff when I'm more fully present, I guess, if that makes sense, or like more not trying to look for escapism.
Right, exactly. I say if you're not seeking escapism, there are some things that my friend just doesn't access. But my friend's really having like a moment here. Like I'm watching a scandal just go, there's this thing, and I'm trying to put it all together, and it's a huge thing.
Well, it is a big thing, because it's like, this is the trope, this is the experience, this is...
And being able to call it that easily, like, ha, it'll be chocolate, that was the worst, most oversimplified thing I could think of. And then that's what it was.
Yep.
And also that was a little bit wild.
Because also what I'm thinking of is I'm also thinking of the social ramifications. I'm also thinking of basically what's been happening in the App Store. So in relation to this game, when we went to go see it, when we were looking at some of the reviews while we were downloading it, it really was one of those things of just watching people over and over and over again going, Miki, 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 and then there was maybe like one Luisa, one Rena, one Luisa, one Rena, and it was really brief compared to Miki. And then coming, like even the same thing of like looking up the stuff for My Mystic Dragons or any of the other ones and going...
Freshman Fantasies, everyone chose Ben. Like, everyone chose Ben.
Which is one of the reasons also why I was actually kind of nervous when we were playing the game, and sure, we're going to go back to it, but this sort of lingering discomfort of going like, are we going to run into literally basically the guy stereotype for women? Which is that a lot of them, especially for the United States, for some damn reason, seem to be incredibly invasive and incredibly aggressive.
We tracked your foe.
Which is what everybody made fun of in Twilight. But it is a real romantic trope / stereotype. Now. And I really wonder why, but it was even beforehand.
No, like, I mean now that we have phones that can be tracked, as opposed to like landlines. Somebody back in the 1920s, I tracked your phone. It was on the wall of your house where it should be.
Right? Or they just are like, I need to know who you are. I'm going to basically invade your mind in a way that then I can track you.
I bugged your purse.
Right?
That kind of thing.
Which is just, I don't know, it's just fascinating. Sorry. Guys, thank you very much, guys, though, for joining us. Absolutely. So we're going to find out what we're going to eat, I guess, in the next one. I hope it's probably going to be more chocolate or something. Probably. We'll find out. But if you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. We love hearing your comments. We love it when people share our stuff and bring in more people on the conversation, because this is a conversation, and this is what we want to do with our media, is that we want to encourage conversation and thoughts and reflectiveness, and also an awareness of basically where we've been sort of fed things and where we've just gone along with things.
Where the basically social directives are in the media we consume.
The social mores, as it were.
And the thing is that media really does give you ideas about how things work in the subtext way more than the overt text.
Right.
And there's some people that break it down really, really well, one of them being Pop Culture Detective, but a few other ones that we've watched I can't even think of all the names of right now. And some of them just do like a single video essay on one thing where they break down how this trope works. There's one on Paw Patrol and the narrative of police that is amazing.
Yes.
And maybe we'll see if we can find a link to that. But like having these conversations and like knowing what other people see and notice about these things is really important to us.
Yes, absolutely. So, also other than that, if you wish to support us more directly, please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. We got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!